Hi guys, hope everyone's well and welcome back to the Improvement Podcast. So today I'm going to touch on sticking to the plan post diet and I'll jump into why. But first of all, quick update on myself. So I'm currently 2 weeks post show. My weight is up around £4 or around the £4 mark. I'm happy if I've handled it still. I'm still hungry, but it will subside. I think I'm a bit less hungry. I'm still very food focused and craving a lot of things, to be honest, and just hungry after each meal. Always looking forward to the next. Obviously, I'll say I'll miss that when I'm deep in a gaining phase and food's higher, but I've always got an appetite, to be honest. I'm never someone who struggles to put the food down. And training's improving. I'm still not feeling or performing absolutely amazing because there's nothing to really compensate from your body weight going up. It's like doing an RDL. I'm still 170 pounds. I still feel pretty fragile, like I'm gonna snap in half. And like I'm RDL like 160 plus, which is like 3.5 plates plus. So I'm not gonna be able to progress that very easily at a really light body weight, because in order to progress that, I took my body weight up to 190 pounds plus. So I'm still 20 plus pounds off that, so it's going to be hard to basically perform at that level without having that body weight behind me, basically. So it'll take a bit of time, but I'm sure I'll get there in terms of performance. But yeah, just taking all the wins I can, performing as best I can, and making sure my execution's in a good spot for the start of this gaining phase, so I've got a good runway to progress without getting injured or running into any issues. So in terms of why I'm creating the episode, so sticking to the plan post diet, something very important if you want to reverse out the diet and maintain your fat loss progress, or enter a gaining phase and have a long and successful one. And the time after a diet can be hard. So the reason I've thought of this episode is because I'm kind of relating it to what I've done during my contest prep. So you've had a goal, you've had like an end goal of dieting, and you've reached that goal, and now your diet's over. So that period of being consistent for that end goal is now vanished. And now you're not really left with a goal, but you're still left with the hunger, you're left with the cravings, probably even more than usual. So it can be difficult to manage. And you want to enjoy things after that period, obviously being restrictive. And yeah, it can be difficult as a result of enjoying things and eating more food again and having meals out and balancing things like that after maybe having them, or having your head down a bit more prior to that. It can be a bit hard. And like I said, hunger's usually a bit higher, maintenance calories are usually a bit lower, so that's putting you in a position to gain body fat easily and be in not a great position to basically stick to things. And like I said, this is kind of the position I'm in with my contest prep, or finishing my contest prep. And I feel like I can offer a lot of value on the subject just from what I've done during this period, and especially because it's probably a more extreme scenario, which means it will probably be valuable, because what potentially other individuals are feeling, without kind of belittling it or making it not a big deal, I'm probably feeling that worse, just due to the severity of how lean I got, that sort of thing. Not that I couldn't have been leaner, but I think you get the drift. And it's important, if you want to have a successful gaining phase or maintain your fat loss, to handle this period well, like I said. So first of all, in terms of your mindset, when it comes to your mindset after a diet, it's important to remember that you might be hungry after the diet's finished. Tell yourself it will subside, because it will. And the reason being is it can feel like, oh, I'm hungry and it's going to be hard to stick to things, and when will this end? Hunger is temporary, and it's just a case of getting through that period, just like how you got through your diet. Just like how your diet was temporary, so will having hunger. So you might be hungry even after big meals, even after having meals out, even after eating a lot, even if you feel your stomach's full, you might still feel hungry and have cravings. But remember, it will subside. And also remember, the food will always be there. You can have it any time. So that's something very, very, very valuable for myself, because sometimes when you have an off-plan meal, like you're just thinking, oh, I want to eat everything in sight, Or like you get like a 4-pack of cookies and you eat one and you think, right, I'll have the other 3. But think about it. What's going to happen if you don't eat the other 3? Nothing. What happens if you don't eat it in that moment? Nothing bad at all. If you want, you can not eat that cookie, and then the day after you can have another one. The day after you can have a whole other pack. The day after, if you want to, you can get 10 burgers and eat them all. Sometimes when you get access to food after, let's say, not having certain foods for a while, you think, right, I need to eat all of this, or I don't have this chance a lot, or this is really good, so I want to eat it all the now. Whereas just remembering you can have it the day after, you can buy that McDonald's again, the exact same what you've had tomorrow and the day after. You can eat that every day of your life if you want. Just realising you've got that option, and that is something you're able to do, will help with the self-control aspect of calling it quits after a meal, and maybe just, you know what I mean, eating in moderation when you are going out, that sort of thing. And if you've remained consistent all throughout a diet, you can do so a wee bit longer while you're already probably eating more after your diet. So make sure you tell yourself that and remind yourself that, and that will help in terms of your confidence and your mindset of being able to do things like stick to maybe eating a meal out and not going crazy overboard. Again, if you want to go crazy overboard, have at it, but this isn't who that podcast is for to an extent. This podcast is for people who want to manage the period well, or maintain their progress, or not lose their progress afterwards. And the next tip I'm going to give you is keeping your food volume and protein high. So just like you do in a dieting phase, you keep your protein intake nice and high, you focus on eating high protein foods, continue to do this after the diet's over, and also keeping your food volume high, because you'll be hungry most likely, and it'll be hard to get that hunger away at first when you exit a diet. Even if, let's say, you do get to eat more, you'll still be hungry. So keeping food volume high can minimise it. And food volumes, but what I mean by food volume is having foods that are very voluminous, large in size but low in calories. And you can do this by eating things like fruit and veg. Blueberries are a great one, green beans, peppers, and probably like strawberries as well. Whatever other fruit and veg is probably relatively low in calories when compared to other foods. And things like adding more water in your oats, cream of rice if you have that, which I'll post on my story a lot, and also your rice, like when you're cooking these things, adding more water to them to give them more size, to give them more substantial volume, so you have more actual volume of food to eat. And also aiming for other low calorie foods, and maybe having like a leaner burger instead of like a higher fat burger, and doing the same with any other swaps you can have that are low calorie. And also keeping protein intake high, because that will help in terms of satiety, or basically fill you up. It also has a thermic effect, meaning you burn more calories digesting protein. So in terms of how you can do this is when you are just picking foods to eat, aim for things with protein in them, and if you're going to overeat protein, it's probably going to be best. Or if you're craving more food, then if you can have something you enjoy, have a protein yogurt, have a protein pudding, have more chicken, if that makes sense. If you are going to have more food, then that will probably fill you up the most, as well as having plenty more fruit and veg. In terms of handling meals out, so you'll probably, after a diet, you'll probably be going out to eat a bit more, you'll want to try different foods, etc., go to different restaurants a bit more often maybe. And what I'd say is when you are going on meals out, try and choose options that are relatively filling, if you like. So you can do things like ordering side salads along with your meal to help with hunger. And what I've been doing after my contest prep when I go out to eat, I'm always hungry. Like I can't remember the last time I was full, except from the meal after my show. But apart from that, I've kind of not been full since. But doing things like ordering side salads, having, let's say, a glass of 2 of water when you're waiting on your food coming, and choosing high protein options like wings, things with a lot of protein in them, or any other animal products usually, because they'll probably be more satiating than fries, meaning fill you up a bit more than fries, and it's overall a better option to have. And like I said, the thermic effect, meaning you burn more calories digesting things with protein in them. And yeah, drinking plenty of liquids before meals, and just choosing options that you think are going to be a bit more filling, maybe, for the same amount of calories. For example, if you have the choice between having for your main, let's say, a grilled chicken burger or a pasta, the grilled chicken burger might be a bit more filling just because it's probably got more protein. It's grilled chicken, so it's probably got lower calories. So just thinking, right, I'll have that option instead, and maybe adding like salads to your burger, or if you can add any more veg to your burger, that's what I mean, you can do so. And yeah, so that's how I've been handling my meals out as well. And you can always swap your side for like a lower calorie version. Tons of menus have calories on them now if you're wanting to manage things better. Instead of having fries, you can have sweet potato fries. Instead of having other foods, you can always look to see if you can just make wee swaps. I'm sure they won't have a grudge against you. At the end of the day, you're paying for the foods. There's no harm in trying to like ask not to have, let's say, a certain sauce on something, etc., or trying to swap for a lower calorie option when it comes to a certain food. And what else I'd say is, when you are having meals out and when you are craving foods,